In this video, I will show you why so many Bible translations are wrong when they translate the word anthropos as person instead of man. I'm simply going to cite the great Michael D. Marlowe, what he wrote at his website in 2003. In recent books and articles that have advocated inclusive language in Bible translations, one often encounters the assertion that the Greek word anthropos does not mean man in the limited sense of male human being, but merely human being, without any presumption that the person referred to with this word is a male. Usually, this assertion is made in the context of an argument in which anthropos is contrasted with aner, a word which always does mean male human being. Even this is not admitted by some. It is argued that a Greek-speaking person of the first century would not perceive any male connection in the word anthropos, because the only word which conveyed this sense of male human being in Greek was aner. And therefore we ought to avoid the ambiguous word man when translating the word anthropos. I know I'm mispronouncing. We note that D.A. Carson is among the writers who have defended gender-neutral translations along these lines. And unfortunately, his reputation for scholarship is such that many people have taken his pronouncements upon this point of Greek semantics as if they were authoritative. But it is a simple matter to show that they are wrong, and that is our purpose here. Anthropos is a Greek word which is often used in a gender-inclusive sense, especially in its plural forms. The plural anthropoi should usually be understood in the inclusive sense if the context suggests it, and the singular anthropos is often used as a collective term, like the English word mankind, which obviously is meant to include both males and females. This is the element of truth which lends plausibility to the assertions mentioned above. But it is a half-truth. The other half of the truth is that when anthropos is used in reference to a particular individual, that individual is always male. The word aner emphasizes the masculinity of the referent. Often the best contextual translation for this word is husband, but anthropos is the word ordinarily used to refer to a male human being in Greek. The student may easily confirm this by consulting a concordance of the Greek New Testament. This masculine sense is duly indicated in all the standard Greek lexicons. But anthropos is not used in reference to an individual female. Whenever a particular person is introduced as an anthropos, that person is invariably male. Invariably male. If the person is female, the word gyne, woman, is used instead. In this respect, then, the word anthropos has the same range of meaning as the English word man, which can be used in a gender-neutral inclusive sense, or in the ordinary word for male human being, and like anthropos, is never used in reference to an individual woman. The idea that man is somehow unsuitable as an equivalent for anthropos because it has its ambiguity is completely wrong-headed, because anthropos has this very same kind of ambiguity in Greek as is the word man in English. Sometimes it includes both sexes, sometimes it refers specifically to males as opposed to females. If there's any question about this sense in any given instance, we must examine the context. The usage of anthropos indicates that it has not only a specific masculine sense in certain contexts, but also that a Greek-speaking person of the apostolic era would presume that anyone who is called an anthropos is male. Again, a Greek-speaking person of the apostolic era would presume that anyone who is called an anthropos or anthropos is male. This may be seen in in the following examples from the New Testament. Matthew 19:5. Therefore shall an anthropos leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife. Also see Ephesians 5:31. Matthew 19:10. If such is the case of an anthropos and with his wife, it is better not to marry. 1 Corinthians 7:1. It is good for an anthropos not to touch a woman. Obviously, in these places, one cannot maintain that anthropos is a strictly gender-neutral word, such as the English word person. Even if such a gender-neutral word existed in Greek, the authors would not have used it in these contexts, any more than we would say it is good for a human being not to touch a woman. This would imply that we do not consider a woman to be a human being. We have no trouble understanding the uses of anthropos in these places if we recognize the word in the singular has such a masculine connotation or valence that Greek-speaking people would expect the referent to be male. In a recent article, Andreas J. Kostenberger has made reference to many more examples of this kind in secular Greek literature and in the ancient Greek versions of the Old Testament. He writes, apart from the fact that most standard New Testament Greek lectionaries include male human being in the semantic range of anthropos, one may cite numerous passages in the Septuagint, such as Genesis 27, 26:11, Exodus 2:21, Leviticus 20:10, Numbers 5:15, number 25:8, Deuteronomy 17:5, 27, 21:15, 22:16, 22:24, 22, 23:1, with 22:30 in brackets, 25:7, 1 Samuel 25:3, Esther 4:11, Ecclesiastes 7:28, Isaiah 4:1, Jeremiah 51:7, also see 44:7, 1 Esther 4:25, 1 Ezra 9:40, Tobit 6:7. Not to speak of extra biblical reference such as Dionysius Halicarnassensis and decount verb 18:201, Div Chrysostom oration 32:893, R. Clement of Rome, homily 13:15-2. In these cases where anthropos quite demonstrably stands in semantic opposition to gyne, woman, which suggests that male human being, at least in these instances, is a semantic component of anthropos rather than merely coming into play at the level of reference. From this list of references, we may quote several clear examples which show that anthropos carries such a male connotation that it was felt that the word gyne, woman, might be added as a different category of people. We know specifically from the Septuagint. Deuteronomy 17:5. Then you shall bring out that anthropos, or that woman, and you shall stone them with stones. Deuteronomy 22:24. They shall be stoned with stones, and they shall die. The young woman, because she did not cry out in the city, and the anthropos, because he violated his neighbor's wife. Esther 4:11. Whosoever, anthropos or woman, shall go into the king in the inner court uncalled, there will not be deliverance from death for that one. In addition to the clear opposition of anthropos and gyne here, notice the expression was used at the end of the sentence. When the author wants to use gender-neutral expression, he does not use anthropos, he uses the neuter personal pronoun auto, that one. Ecclesiastes 7:28. One anthropos among 1,000 I have found, but a woman among all these I have not found. Isaiah 4:11. 7 women shall take hold of one anthropos, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own raiment. Only let your name be called upon us and take away our reproach. Jeremiah 51:7. You cut off anthropos and woman of you, infant and suckling, from the midst of Judah. 1 Ezra 9:4. So Ezra, the chief priest, brought the law for all the multitude, from anthropos to woman, and all the priests to hear the law. And Tobit 6:7. If a demon or evil spirit gives trouble to anyone, you must make a smoke from these before the anthropos or woman. Here it is obvious that in Greek it was sometimes appropriate to use anthropos and gyne together, a compound expression if one wanted to explicitly or unambiguously inclusive, just as we sometimes use the words man and woman in English, although both anthropos and man are often used alone in reference to humans generally. In short, the word anthropos is no more gender neutral or inclusive than the English word man. Now, in consideration of these examples, the question which remains is, how can a competent scholar such as D.A. Carson honestly maintain in a published work that the word anthropos has no masculine connotations? We fail to see how this opinion can be maintained. Yet, he not only does this, but also condescendingly alleges that those who disagree with him are in a confusion over the elementary linguistic distinction between meaning and referent. But we will leave it to the reader now to discern which side of the gender-neutral Bible controversy is involved in error and confusion on this point. The usage of words relating to gender and humanity in the Greek language are no less sexist than the ordinary English usages which feminists have been trying to abolish for 30 years now. This may be clean. No, this was 2003. And this may be seen clearly enough in the case of the word anthropos. It is also evident that Carson and others who have confused the issue with specious arguments of Greek words and linguistics are merely distracting from the fact that the inclusive language debate has to do not with Greek, but with our English words and their meaning. We should attempt to reform our English usage along politically correct lines. On this question of English usage, the professors of Greek have no more authority than any layman who is acquainted with the English language. And there ends Michael Marlowe's essay. To which I say, Michael Marlowe, Amen. The silly use of they in the 2011 NIV, that is not accurate. It is not accurate in Greek. It is not accurate in English. Stop using the 2011 NIV, silly. Now, there are various footnotes that I have not cited. You can see the essay for yourself. I will put the link in the description below. We need better Bibles. We need a better text, a better base text for the whole New Testament. Stop letting liberals and unbelievers make you Bible. With that, good day.